Hey friends, welcome back to a new video. Today I want to talk a little bit about how do you even get started with minimalism. You're interested in it, but it just feels so overwhelming. Where do I even start? And thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. First of all, I really want to clarify that minimalism is not the goal. We are trying to pursue minimalism as a tool. So minimalism is supposed to help us free up time and money and energy to be able to focus that into other things and projects that bring us more value and enrich our lives. The most important thing when it comes to wanting to start and pursue minimalism is to first of all tackle your mindset. It doesn't really help to just go ahead and declutter and take care of your physical space if you're not taking care of your mental space. So first of all, ask yourself, why do you want to pursue minimalism? This is really important to define it in the beginning. It is something that you will have to and need to go back to again and again when you have moments of doubt, when you have moments of weakness, to remind yourself, why are you pursuing minimalism? So it can be for environmental reasons, it can be for financial reasons. Maybe you want to save more money. Maybe you just want less stress in your life and more time for other things. It doesn't really matter what your why is, you just have to be really clear about it, and if you can, write it down, to have it written somewhere so I guess you don't forget. If you haven't sorted out your inner world, you will keep having stumbling blocks that you will fall over, and it will just be so much harder to actually pursue and be successful when it comes to minimalism. So often we take care of our physical space and we forget to take care of our inner space as well, which is even more important, I would say. So for me, therapy was a big part of my minimalism journey. I really had some things I wanted to sort out in my inner world. After having started therapy, I feel so much more confident. I have improved all of the relationships in my life. I know what I want. I'm not afraid to fight for what I believe in, and I feel like I can be so much more truly unapologetically myself. When I started therapy about 2 years ago, I actually used the platform BetterHelp, and that's why I'm so excited that BetterHelp is also the sponsor of today's video. BetterHelp connects you to a licensed therapist that is trained to listen and to give you unbiased advice. You can answer a few simple questions just like I did, and BetterHelp will match you to a therapist that is best suited to you. What really spoke to me about BetterHelp is that you can do it from anywhere, from the comfort of your own home. It was something that was really important to me. I feel safest and most comfortable in my home. You can either do it via phone call or video chat or just chatting in general, what you prefer. The really cool thing is if you don't feel 100% match with your therapist, which happens and is totally normal, then it's really easy to switch to a new therapist with a click of a button. It saves you so much more time than with a traditional therapist at an office. So if you can't already tell, I'm a huge fan of therapy, and for me, BetterHelp was really game-changing and the platform for me. Just use my link down below, betterhelp.com/catchycravings. So now that we've kind of gone into ourselves and looked at our inner world and shifted our mindset and know why we want to start minimalism, then we can start tackling our outer world, so to say. So the first thing, when you haven't had any touch points with minimalism, most of all, it starts with decluttering. But there are ways and rules to go about decluttering to do it most efficiently. Especially in the beginning, decluttering is a big part of minimalism. You're trying to figure out what do you need, what gives you value, and what are things that are excess that you can leave out. Because minimalism is all about figuring out what is the excess that we can cut out to really only have the essentials, things that we absolutely need, that give us value, so that we have less of the noise, we have less of the excess, and have more time and energy and space and money for the things that are important to us. So what I think is really important, and might be really daunting, at least that was the case for me, is when you're doing it for the first time and you're doing that big declutter, is to really take everything out and to see everything at once, because it will truly shock you how much you have. It I was really shocked myself. I didn't feel like I had that much stuff to begin with when I first started minimalism, but it still shocked me how much I actually have. So even though it might feel like you're making a big mess, it's so important to really take everything out, lay everything out on the floor to have everything at one glance of how much you actually have. Then you're going to go ahead and pick out each item and ask yourself kind of 3 of the following questions. So first of all is, do I absolutely need this item? Is it an essential part of your life? If you say yes, then I guess it's really obvious that it is something that you should keep, that you need. Then if the answer is no, you can move on to the second question, which would be, do you gain value from it? So does it make your life more pleasant, easier? Is it some type of tool that gives you value? You might not absolutely need it, but it helps you a lot in your day-to-day. Again, if that is yes, then it is also something that you can consider keeping. And if the answer is no, you can move on to the third question, which is, would you miss it if it was gone? Because sometimes we feel like I absolutely love this and need this and it gives me so much value, but if the item were gone, sometimes you wouldn't even miss it. So it's a nice test to kind of try out. And if your house burned down and you lost all of your things, which would be devastating, but is this one item something that you would absolutely want to repurchase right away? Or would you maybe not even miss it after a week or a month? So it really is about testing how integral it is for your life. So as I said, it's really important to get everything out, to see everything all at once, but I would not recommend doing your whole house or your whole home at once, because that can be a little too overwhelming. So I would suggest go through it room by room or category by category. So do your bedroom as a room, or do your closet as a category, do your books as a category, do your kitchen as a room, and go through it section by section. Another great way to go about decluttering, and this maybe I would only suggest for if you've done your one big declutter where you've gone through everything and decluttered the majority, is to go about doing little challenges. It makes it more fun, and it sometimes can help you spot those things that you kind of missed and went over the first time. So some challenges that are really fun, or that I have done, is for one, the packing party. So essentially where you pack all of your things in, maybe do a certain category. So do your kitchen items or your closet, or do a certain room where you pack everything into boxes, and then you take out everything as you need it or want it, in a sense. So this also tests whether you would miss certain items. So when I did this in the past, there were so many items left in the box that I had completely forgotten about, that I didn't even know I had. So I didn't have the urge to even get it out and to use it because I didn't even know I had it. So that really tells you that those are items that I don't really need and I could easily declutter because I didn't even miss it. So you pack everything into your boxes and then you take it out one by one and set yourself a time limit. Maybe do a month or so, or maybe 2 months, just to figure out how much do you actually take out and do you actually use and miss. Another fun project that I personally haven't tried yet, but is more geared towards your closet, is Project 333. So maybe you have already heard about it. Basically, it's about reducing the amount of stuff in your closet to 33 items and using only those 33 items throughout 3 months. And this is also really something where you can test out how much do you actually need. And I feel like challenges like these often teach you that you don't need as much as you think you do. We think we need all of this stuff to live our day-to-day, to be happy, to be satisfied, but oftentimes we don't even, when we do reduce the amount of stuff that we have, we don't even miss the excess that we have now gotten rid of for the sake of the challenge. So it really shows you how little stuff you actually need, and maybe after this project you even have the urge or are comfortable with keeping the project as a long-term state, so kind of like having a capsule wardrobe and not going back to all of the clothes that you used to have. So this is a challenge I might try out in the future, since I haven't tried it out yet. Might be really fun and interesting to see what I learned from this challenge. Then another really fun challenge that I've also done is the 30-day challenge. So basically on day 1, you declutter 1 item. On day 2, you declutter 2 items. On day 3, 3 items. And it goes on all the way to 30 days. And this is really fun to do with someone, kind of do it not in a sense competition-wise, but to help each other, motivate each other. And you can have like a list to check off each day where you're able to declutter something. And let me tell you, it is really hard. In the beginning, the first few days are more so easy, but the further along you go, the harder it gets. And of course, the challenge is to be able to make it all the way to 30 days. I personally did not make it. It is really hard to find that many things to declutter. But again, it gets you kind of thinking of, okay, what else do I not really need or is not really integral to my life that I can declutter that I might have missed beforehand. When it comes to all these decluttering ordeals, be sure to carve out enough time. It is so time consuming, so energy consuming. I can tell you from experience, I always underestimate how time and energy consuming decluttering really is. So carve out a weekend or a whole day at least. And as I said, go through it section by section, room by room. Don't do it all at once. And if you feel like you've already decluttered so much that you don't really have an idea what else to declutter, I do have a few videos of tips and ideas of what else you might want to or might consider decluttering that we often overlook and miss. So I will link these videos here in the cards or down below. So with all this decluttering and getting rid of your stuff and trying to have less, there's often this misconception that the less stuff you have, the better of a minimalism you are. And there's also this misconception of needing to strip everything bare, to live like a monk and really deprive yourself of things. That's also not the point of minimalism. Minimalism really looks different to every single person and with every single lifestyle, depending on what kind of hobbies you have, what kind of climate do you live in. Do you maybe live in a really hot climate where you only need summer clothes? Do you have all 4 seasons? Do you have kids? You will need more stuff with that. So it looks different on everyone, and you're not able to say, well, that person has less stuff, that person's a better minimalist. It's really dangerous to go into that route of comparing with other people and feeling like I have less stuff, I'm a better minimalist, or I have more stuff, I'm a worse minimalist, so to say. Focus on your things. Try not to look at other people and compare with other people. Just think about what is excess in your life that you can cut out. What do you absolutely need? What gives you value, and stick to those things. And be sure to challenge yourself, as I said, once in a while. Try to get out of your comfort zone and see how far you can go, how far you can push yourself before it becomes depriving yourself of things, because that's also the other extreme that we don't want to go to. One last advice I want to give is that Rome wasn't built in a day. Minimalism is also more of a journey, and it's not something that you do overnight. Yes, you might have been able to declutter over 1 week, but that doesn't mean that the minimalism journey is now done. It is something you have to keep working on. As I said, it's more so a mindset than actually about your space. Your space reflects your mindset or your inner world. So keep working on that mindset, because we keep getting bombarded with consumers' messages. So we have to kind of really go against those messages with our minimalist mindset. So keep reading books and materials on minimalism, watching YouTube videos on minimalism to remind yourself of why do you want to pursue this. Go back to your why that you've written down in the beginning. And even if you have setbacks, which I've also had, which are absolutely normal, it's part of the journey. What's important is that you realize that you've had a little setback and that you catch yourself and that you can kind of redirect yourself on the path of minimalism, so to say. So setbacks and impulse purchases are normal. It's part of it. Don't be too hard on yourself, and keep at it and go back to your why. Also, what we shouldn't forget is our digital space. It's something that I'm also really bad at and I need to work on. Often it's out of sight, out of mind, and we often have so much digital clutter that we should absolutely also go through and declutter. What might really help is to visualize your digital clutter as a room. So if your digital space were one room, how cluttered would that be? My room definitely would be quite cluttered, and I really have to go through regularly. Digital clutter especially accumulates so quickly. With decluttering in general, it's really important to go through your stuff and your mindset and do kind of like a recheck of your stuff, of your mindset when it comes to minimalism, that you keep yourself in check. So I hope you found this video helpful. You know where to start now. If you want more information and content on minimalism, I'll be sure to link my minimalism playlist here. I have so much information on minimalism. I kind of take you along on my journey and tell you about how I went about it, what are some benefits that I had, because minimalism really did change my life. And thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to take charge of your inner world as well, and to reap the full benefits of minimalism to have a more peaceful and balanced life. So be sure to click on the link down below at betterhelp.com/catchycravings and start taking charge of your inner world today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.